We all set to start, Heather?
Just going live here in a couple minutes here,
Okay.
or we'll see how long it takes.
Tell me when you're ready. And go ahead and go. We all set to start, Heather?
Just okay.
I'm called this meeting of the Bowling Green Planning Commission to order. This is our August meeting, August 4th. Jamie, would you please call the roll?
Here. Yes.
Here.
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 Okay, you've all had a chance to review the minutes of the July 7th meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, or minutes fine as they're presented to you?
It looked fine to
Comments?
me.
Okay, well, then the minutes are approved. Next is lobby visitation. This is the chance for members of the public to present to us their concerns or issues or comments about anything that's not on tonight's agenda. Is there anybody that wants to address us tonight? Doesn't look like it. I'll close lobby visitation. Next, we have a public hearing to vacate West Oak Street, running west to east between North Church Street and North Main Street. City of Bowling Green and Wood County District Public Library Board of Trustees are the petitioners. Heather, you want to give us your staff report?
Sure. You already read about the petitioners. This is to vacate West Oak Street, which is basically between North Church Street and North Main Street, running west and east. It is about 30 feet. This request is due to the new municipal building project, which I know you're well aware of. I did include in your packet the very preliminary site plan that you've seen way back when we had the rezoning for the properties, but I thought you could still at least get a visual, especially for the newer members, so they could see that. If vacated, an easement would be retained for utility purposes. There is a combined sewer that runs along the property, along with underground electric under about half of that. I have a picture of that if you do want to see that. So you'll see there the purple dash line. That actually is the electric there. So the overhead is a solid line, and then the dash line is an underground electric there. And then we have the green line, that is the combined sewer. Again, that runs along Oak Street. I think that's it. Besides, I think you may recall this is a recommendation of City Council, so City Council would still review this and make the final decision. And I think that's it, unless you have any specific questions.
I did see a picture somewhere. I just comment that it looks like what used to be Oak Street, that some of it is going to be sort of green space, but there will be an ingress and egress to a parking lot from one end of what was Oak Street.
Correct, yes,
There will be some pavement there to get in and out of the parking lot.
correct. That was interesting too. The legal descriptions we found date back to the late 1800s, mid 1800s. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's a very old right of way, an alley.
All right, any questions for Heather? Then I'll ask if there are, Lori, did you want to make any comments, or anybody from the library? You don't need to if you don't want to. Okay, then we can open this for discussion among ourselves. Anybody want to be the person that tried to stop the city from building a new city?
I like
Way to
that
open it
discussion.
up. Way to open it up that way.
I like that discussion, Bob.
Right.
Any comments from members of the commission? Everybody satisfied? The explanation so far?
Chairperson, I was just wondering what kind of green space will it be? Like, do we know?
Good evening, Planning Commission. That's still being determined. We are working cooperatively with the library in looking at ways to activate that space. As Heather had shared with you, there is a sewer down there, so the building will not go over what was Oak Street, but put a grass area there. And we'll be looking at various ways to activate the area, certainly to support library, to support people in the downtown, employees who want to have lunch outside, things like that.
Yeah, and I like all that. And the reason why I asked is just that, having more grass is fine. Can we make it more interactive for the people? Like, could we have, say, a community garden kind of stuff, or, where people are working and being part of the space rather than just having the lawn there. And that was
Sure.
where I was coming.
Yes, I agree. And that is the plan, certainly, to have places, again, where if, for example, the children's librarian wants to come out and use the space and people have a place to sit and, as you said, do external work or to eat a meal, to be in the area. So certainly something we'll be working on together cooperatively, because we do want it to be not just a lawn. You're right. We want it to be active space. Thanks.
But I don't think you're gonna restrict that library, what you're saying, correct?
No.
No, it'll be
That's not what
public.
he was saying.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's not what he was
So I think
saying.
it's,
Yep. Just another addition to downtown. It'll be another great
Yeah.
space in our downtown area.
I'm just gonna-
Sure. Thanks, Brian.
Good evening, everyone. Part of that too is the library is really excited to have some additional green space. COVID has forced us to do a lot of outside programming. So you can see us in the gazebo area on the green. You can see us over in the Carter House lawn. So we're pretty excited to have that additional green space. We're hoping to be able to knock out some bricks and put some doors in that actually will give the children's area opportunity to do story time out there and whatnot. So that's a lot of conversations that we're having with the city right now to make sure that it's conducive to that kind of thing, but then gives us more opportunity to get people outside.
Sir, would you identify yourself just for the record? too,
Brian
please?
Paskvan, President of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Is there, I mean, is this, I can see the, the plot plan here. Has there been any other further movement on the design, or are we waiting for the city council approval before we move forward with design services?
We are still working on the final design.
Okay.
That's still in development.
Gotcha.
So that, again, was a preliminary drawing, which already has changed because, as you can see, there's a driveway that bumps out for the book drop-off, which the library has determined will be moving over to Court Street. So already we're looking at some changes there.
Okay.
But in general, it's looking to be, the same concept that, as was identified, that, part of it will be the green space out towards Main Street, and the former part to the west here would be part of the parking lot to be used to move in and out.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. Jamie, you want to call?
Oh, you need a motion?
Yeah, that's right. I need a motion first. Sorry.
I so move.
Judy moves and makes, Chris is seconding. Now we vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, unanimous vote. And with that, we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a development of a subdivision in Cogan's Crossing, plat number 8, located near the corner of Brim Road and Bishop Road. And this looks like just an extension of the housing that's out there to 6 lots that are under consideration for development. We have houses put on them. And we don't have to set this for a public hearing, as I understand it. We just vote to recommend it to city council or not.
Nope, it's all your
all-
decision
the
to
city
subdivide
council
property.
doesn't?
Mhm.
Okay, so anybody have any concerns about this extension?
For the record, I just want to note that they did meet the requirements of 151.13G of the subdivision regulations to provide a financial guarantee for all the work that is yet to be completed there. Very minimal, but again, it's just part of the requirements. And also we have to certify that the plan is in conformity with the original preliminary plan that was approved already. Also, we collect sidewalk staking fees and then the actual shade tree requirement. So every lot is to get a shade tree once a house is built. So just want to make sure for the record that was noted.
Do you have any idea about how many units are out there in Cogan's Crossing now?
Oh, you know what? Got me on the spot here. There's quite a few. I want to say at least 80.
Yeah.
If I counted right, and there's still several more to be added, but you know, I'm assuming the developer wants to start small and incremental. So this is the next logical.
Second, seven more flats.
Several more
Okay.
plats, several, yes. Mhm. So you approved that preliminary plat back in December of 2020. And they're good for up to a year. So you'll see it likely again, so we can keep that approval intact and valid. It has to be approved every year. So after a final plat is approved, that does get recorded with the county, and then our office assigns addresses.
Are these lot sizes consistent with the neighboring lot sizes?
Yes. Yes, I believe they're about 70 by 130,
30? Yeah, I know. I just didn't know if they were smaller or.
about the same, yes. I know it's hard to see, but here is, oops, a portion of that. And then we highlighted that area of 1.553 acres at the end of Wexford that was expanded. And then here's the site, the actual final plat of the 6 lots.
I was, maybe because I'm a little new here, do we know what kind of housing price will be? Or what kind of people are we targeting here?
No, the purview of Plan Commission is actually subdividing the property to make sure it meets the minimum subdivision regulations. So, but it is zoned single family, so that would be the approved use.
And it aligns with the master plan.
Yes, and this actually is an established subdivision that's been there for several years. And, you know, to make a long story short, the actual original developer did go bankrupt. And so it's kind of sat in limbo. These plats were, or these actual properties were already platted years ago or in a preliminary plat. So, you know, they had hoped at that point to have this all done by now, but clearly the bankruptcy impacted that. And so another owner took it over. And I think several years later decided that subdividing was probably the way to go at this point. So it's already been zoned. It already had an original preliminary plat several years ago. We're talking probably early 2000, if not before. So.
Okay, any other comments or questions? We have a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second, Mark? Jamie?
Yes.
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 Okay, another 8-0 vote. We'll move on to reports. Judy, do you have anything from the Zoning Board of Appeals?
I certainly do. We had 3 requests for variances come before the board on July 14th. We only heard 2 of them because one of them, the Mr. King from the 3 Court LLC on behalf of Beckett's did not appear, so we tabled that until till the meeting next week. Hopefully he will appear for that one. But the 2 that we did hear were John and Kristen Lommel, 1219 Brownwood Drive, have requested a variance to allow the construction of a 6-foot tall fence in the 35-foot front yard setback corner lot. Fence would be in the front yard that faces Brownwood Court, and it's going to be 2 feet taller than the maximum allowable height of 4 feet. It was granted unanimously. And the other one we heard was Kathy Lurch of 1072 Carroll Road, has requested a variance to allow the construction of a 15-foot by 26-foot addition, which would encroach 4 feet into the required 20-foot rear yard setback. It's an existing lot of record, and that also passed unanimously. And following the lead of the Planning Commission, the Zoning Board voted to also to continue to live stream our meetings
Okay.
because they're so exciting.
Could you back up a little bit? You said,
The gentleman, Ron King, was the representative of 3 Court, and he was to appear because the request was to allow the construction of 2 additional signs,
Okay,
and he did not appear, so we tabled it because we need to have someone.
okay, so there was no rejection.
No, there's no
Okay.
rejection. It was tabled. It will be brought back next Wednesday when we meet. It'll come off the table. Hopefully he's there and we can proceed with it.
They need at least one representative.
They need to have somebody we can talk to.
Okay. Thank
you.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Heather, do you have any report
Yeah,
tonight?
very briefly, just a quick zoning permit update. Our zoning permits are still up about, I'm guessing around 12%. We're at 307 permits so far this year compared to 270 this time last year. 19 single-family housing starts so far compared to 12 at this time last year. We do still have on hold the Bowling Green Healthcare Real Estate, which is new construction on South Dunbridge. We do now have a permit to review for Hartung Brothers. They're doing a site alteration with their brine pond there on South Dunbridge, and Precision Alloy Services. They're doing a fairly large addition at 760 Innovation Drive, which is in the John Quinn Innovative Tech Park. As far as subdivisions, we are currently reviewing an expansion of Stonebrook Estates, a preliminary plat. So I assume that will probably be in front of you fairly soon once all comments are addressed. As far as the zoning code, we are still reviewing that. We have an administrative draft right now. We've provided several comments to them, and we still anticipate that at some point in time, and probably the fall, you'll see it. But I hate to give you an exact time because it's a very, it's a big project. And we're hopefully still on goal to look at that by the end of the year as far as adoption and public hearings. 2020 census, we actually have a release date of some initial data for redistricting on August 16th, but we are told it's a high level format that really is not meant for the public. But on September 30th is when the public release of data will happen. So that's it, unless you have any specific questions for me.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Any other questions, comments, anything for the good of the order tonight? Are we all done? Oh, we're all done, it looks like. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.